So if you're here, hashtag live, let me know you're here because I'm on Substack and Facebook. So if you're here, let me know because then we're going to talk about what this looks like for your company and your organization and how to correct it. And the issue is mostly, hey, Ricardo, the issue comes through hiring individuals, right? When you're hiring new staff, you really have to take the time and sit down and think about what this person, what environment this new person is coming into. Is the environment conducive to their success? Is the environment conducive to the job that you want them to do? Do you even think about what they're supposed to be doing? So with the title, one thing about me, I'm not going to give you a title and not give you tips on how to correct it because we do help our clients with this. So, like, this tip is really simple but valuable because if you're busy, it's understandable that you do not have the time to sit down and understand how to do this or even have the time to do this because you have a million and one things to do, especially like my nonprofit people. If you're running a nonprofit, you're the janitor, you're the babysitter, you're a therapist for your team. So I can understand why this can be such a heavy lift. But when you're hiring someone, I want you to take the time and write down what you wished that this person that's supposed to come on would own. When I say would own, what they would be responsible for. Because let's say you want to hire an outreach coordinator. What would this person be responsible for? That I want you to think about because I've read job descriptions that say that this person has to manage people, this person has to clean the office, this person has to do this person has to do that. Is that what you want this person to be doing? And does that fit the role you're asking them to apply for? Because I want you to think clearly of what this person should own. And if you have things that do not relate to one another and don't fit into that role or title, should it be broken down into two separate positions that you need to hire for? Because oftentimes people have great ideas. You have great ideas about what needs to be done in the company, in the organization, in the business, but you have no idea how to make this work. And that's okay. And that's okay. That's why I'm challenging you before hiring anybody. Like, I know job descriptions. People are like asking ChatGPT to write a job description, right? But what is really needed for this position so the company can succeed? Because I don't want you to think short term, what's needed right now, but how does this position grow with the company, with the organization, with the business to ensure that it meets the needs that you have right now, but also grows with the company and organization to ensure that this person is able to be in a role that contributes heavily to the company or organization. So I am challenging you, write down what this person will need to own and what they will need to focus on. Because if you do not do that and you're just using what ChatGPT or Claude AI or what Gemini or whatever you're using spit out to you, then it's going to come at a disservice to you because you know your company, you know your business, you know your organization better than Chat does, Claude does, because if you're using AI, you need to use it right. And this is not going to be a masterclass on how to use AI to make sure it gives you the correct um, description or duties for these positions, but I want you to do the work because you need to know how to do it before you tap into AI to help you to do that. Because I've learned how to do that because I talk to Chasey. I call my chat GPT Chasey, so it understands the way I work and what I need. And prompt engineering is very necessary to do that, which you need to know how to do that part that I'm telling you. Sit down and figure out what this person is supposed to do. Because if you don't do that, then it's going to be very difficult for this person to come in and do a good job. It's going to be difficult for this person to come in and for you not to revert back to babysitting. It's going to be very difficult for whoever manages this person to lead this person because there's a level of clarity missing because um, It wasn't put down on paper. It wasn't clarified. Nobody understood what was needed. So sit down, write down what this person needs to own and what they need to focus on and what 90-day success looks like for this person, because this is the job that you want them to do to help you accomplish your vision. So think about the processes necessary for this person to go through, right? If the person is the outreach coordinator, what are the processes for an outreach coordinator? They have to have conversations with stakeholders. Who are they cooperating with? Is there a project coordinator or outreach or director or something that they have to coordinate with? Like, think about the process. What is entailed there? They have to send weekly or monthly emails out? Think about, after you write down what they need to focus on, think about the processes involved for that position, right? The ones that you know, and also ask other stakeholders, internal stakeholders that are intertwined with this position or that interact with this position, what they would need from that person to ensure that their tasks are good, that they're doing a good job. What would they need? Because you need input not only from you as the business owner, as the executive in your organization, but you also need input for other positions that interact with the person you're hiring. Because if you don't have that feedback from them, it's going to be hard for the person to work with that individual, because now that individual is brought in to do some random work that you didn't even understand, because you don't work in that position, you don't work in that department. So you need to bring in those folks, to help you figure out what processes will be involved with that position and how they interact with other positions, so you can have a good idea and your SOPs will reflect these updated changes, right? And you also have to think about the workflows after this new person goes through onboarding, right? What's the next step? Maybe they do onboarding includes training with this department or whatever. Like, you have to think about the workflows involved in that position. You have to think about the different possibilities and the different interactions that may occur when you hire this person, because hiring people costs money. Okay, I've made some expensive mistakes when hiring folks. Let's say I had a project director position that I resigned from in 2024. And one of my roles was hiring people, right, and managing individuals. And when you first start managing folks, because this was a nonprofit that I founded that ended up, before I left, they had secured about $2.1 million in grants that I applied for and got, but now I had to manage the money. So I was managing the grants, writing the grants, directing the projects, managing the projects, managing people, right? So in that position, one thing I learned: when you're managing people and hiring people, you have to be very clear as to what you're looking for. And when you're hiring them, you have to be okay with not hiring someone that's not a good fit. That is an expensive mistake I made a couple of times that cost the organization I was in at the time, because I founded it with my soon to be ex-husband. So it cost us money. It cost us a lot of money. Like, some positions, there was someone that was working for us for almost a year, but then there was hesitation in letting them go because I how do I put this? I don't want to say I have a soft heart. I do. I really do, and that got me, because now you have to look at whether or not you have to set up boundaries. And that's what I learned in this position that I'm okay with sharing with you, that you have to learn boundaries, and that is very important in the way you set up the back end of your business. Because from that experience in 2021, I learned that if you are clear in your in the hiring process of what's necessary, and you document this stuff and you make it clear from jump, then you avoid any uncomfortable conversations later on, because this person knows what they were brought on for and what's expected of them and what that looks like. Because 1 year, that was $65,000 for that position. So that was a lot of money. That was a lot of money, only to find out when, like a bunch of mess. But that's a lot of money, and that's a costly mistake. So doing that work will not only save your company and save your organization boku money, but it will help you streamline the process where you are not hurting the company because of deficiencies. And that's what you want to avoid with operational, issues, is like certain deficiencies or gaps that exist are not being resolved because you can't identify them. And that is one thing that's very important. And that's why at Savage Coaching and Consulting, one of the things we offer is a business operations audit. Because this business operation audit, what we do, it's designed to help businesses and organizations identify the bottlenecks, right? Identify the bottlenecks, the workflow gaps that exist, and operational breakdowns in your company or organization, because they can prevent growth. Okay. And when we do that, one thing that our clients can expect, it's clarity on what needs to change, which is very important. What needs to change and what needs to stay the same, and where to focus so the business can actually grow. So that's why we offer the business operations audit, because oftentimes people don't know what needs to be fixed, or people don't know, like some smaller companies don't know or don't have the bandwidth to do these sorts of audits to identify things that are too close to them. Because sometimes when you're too close to something, it becomes very difficult to be objective about it, because it's your baby. Like I told you, it took me a year to let someone go because I was too close to it. Okay. So sometimes you have to take a step back and really fix the back end and the operational side, so you have less issues with the implementation, with running the day to day, because that needs to be safe. That needs to be secure, because the goal here is to make sure that you're generating revenue as a business. And if you're a nonprofit, still generating revenue, because you need to generate revenue to make sure that these programs are serving the clients and the audience that you say you're serving. So for profit and nonprofit, the goal is to ensure that your operations support the work that you do. And that can support the work that you do in terms of day to day, or also revenue generation activities. So don't sleep on that. And you can check the link in my bio, or if you're on Facebook, the link in the comments for my stand store. You'll get more information about the business operations audit, which is what we do and help our clients with. That's the first step that I always recommend people do: an audit. What do you need? Because if you don't know what you need, I can help you. There are other ways that we can help you, which is strategic planning, operational planning. I've had a few clients, that's what they needed to make sure that their organization was able to move forward and have a plan for the next 3 to 5 years. But when a company is unsure what gaps exist, definitely book an audit so we can help you figure that out. But with that said, I am down in downtown Sacramento right now. I am going to take a walk and get some steps in. My goal is 10,000 per day, because then I've been slacking. Because then I used to do 3 to 5 miles every day, and I haven't done that in 2 weeks. So I need to get back to that. So if you have any questions about this particular topic, drop them in the comments so I can answer your questions, or reach out to me in the DMs. Feel free to reach out to me, and then we'll talk a little bit more. But with that said, have an amazing Monday. Happy June. It is the 1st of June, and I'm excited about it. So, and yeah, we'll talk soon, and thank you for joining me. Bye, y'all.